Hello, welcome back again. This week we're moving on a little bit from the last few weeks where we've been looking at Dagger, and we're going to be looking at combining the sword and dagger together. This work, very much the stuff we take comes from Dagger. So how do we pair these two weapons together? The dagger is actually a really good offhand weapon. It provides us an extra level of defense and an extra level of offense, as well as being able to use it to support our main weapon. So it's essentially like having a sword and a smaller sword, and those two things together allow me a lot of flexibility. But before we get on to how we can actually use them, the first thing you need to do is get used to moving the two weapons around together without smacking them into each other. And that in itself becomes a bit of a challenge. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to go through the guards and make sure everybody's comfortable with the guards that we're going to be using. So I've asked Ian here to come and basically do them with a single side sword whilst I'm doing the sword and dagger, so you've got that direct comparison. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, probably jump back and have a look at the single side sword videos we did first, so you're up to speed and all of this material will make a lot more sense. So let's start with our guard. The very first guard we would normally look at is Coda Lunga, where I've got my lead foot forward and my sword hand is down by the side here. In this case, the dagger is normally going to live just on the other side of that front knee. So what I want to do is leave this area, this side of me, open as an invitation. Yeah? Much like when I'm here because I know the attack then has to come into this quarter and I'm ready to deal with it. In the same way, I want to keep that opening so the dagger stays on this side. Obviously, if I go to Coda Lunga Alta, so I bring the other foot forward, I'm still in a Coda Lunga, so I still want the weapons to be on this side of my body. Yeah, so now they're either side of the back leg, but staying on this side of the body, ready to react. Now, if we switch back again and we go into Porta di Ferro, so we're now on the inside of that back knee, the sword's going to sit on the outside of the back knee, much for the same reason we've just looked at. I want to keep this side of my body open as an invitation. So, Porta di Ferro is here. And then we have Shingahali Porta di Ferro. Now, I'm okay with this, which is the sword on the inside of the front knee and the dagger on the outside, but technically, according to Dagger, when he gets to this guard, he raises the dagger up into Guarda di Testa. We'll come to the reasons why he might do that later, but I'm okay with this or this. Okay? And that gives us our 4 low guards. We've then obviously got 4 high guards, the ones that we'll be familiar with. We've got Guarda d'Alicorno, where the dagger is going to stay right the way down here in a Coda Lunga. So when we refer to naming the dagger, we refer to it from its position. So if I was left-handed sword, this would be Coda Lunga. This is where I realise I've named it slightly wrong. So in this case, this is Coda Lunga Alta, and this is Guarda d'Alicorno, just to help with the naming of things. So, and the other one we have Guarda di Testa, and either the dagger will stay down here, or more realistically, the dagger is going to come up for a cross block when we're looking at these high guards. The last 2 guards is we've got Guarda di Faccia, where we're coming across the body, and normally what we'll find is the dagger comes underneath. Yeah? So this has gone high, the dagger is coming here just to support that. Likewise, if I pass forward into Guarda d'Entry, the dagger is going to come and live underneath it. It can be angled slightly towards the sword for blocking, or it can be point forward for offensive. So that gives us our guards, and we need to be able to move fluidly between these guards, much like we do with the sword. The problem is, what you tend to find is when people start doing this, they very much view them as 2 things. So if they're going to do a Mandriti Spolambrato and cut across here, they don't move the dagger and end up hitting the dagger on the way through. So one of the key things is you have to get used to moving your hands together. If I'm bringing this hand up and cutting down, this hand's going to come with it so that I cut underneath, and this dagger is going to be then doing to something else. So I need to get used to using them together. So if the sword goes that way, dagger goes that way. Sword goes that way, dagger goes that way. Sword goes up, dagger goes up. Now that's a general rule that we're then going to break multiple times through the next few videos, but it gives you a starting point for thinking about it and keeping them working together rather than constantly clashing into each other. So what I want to do to finish off very briefly is I'm going to go all the way back to Dalagokie's walking in guard and go through that with the dagger, and we'll see how that looks. So if we start in guard, weapons are sheathed, the first technique is we're going to perform a beat with the reverse tondo, and as I do that, the dagger is going to come out. So after I beat, I'm going to close down that line so that the attack can't come straight back down it, and then as I step forward, I'm going to come around and deliver my reverso scollambrato. It's going to bring me into Codalonga Alti here. From there, I'm going to cut. Have I gone into the wrong guard? Have I got it wrong to start with? I have. Yeah, you're right. I've put the wrong thing. That's fine. We'll leave that in. It's good for people get to see I mess up. So go back to the beginning. I cut across, parry here, come over, step down into Codalonga, not Codalonga Alta. Right. Okay. From here, I'm going to then do a false drito. I'm forgetting all over the place now. Throwing myself off. False drito up. Normally I'm then going to again cover to make sure the sword can't come down with the dagger, and step forward and cut into Shingahali Porta di Ferro. And as you can see, the dagger is now up in the parry position where Dalagokia recommends it, which is obviously why it works, okay? From here, we're going to do a stramazzoni, and the dagger is then going to drop down as we come into guard in Porta di Ferro. Oh, my brain's not doing well. It's too warm, I think. And then from there, I'm going to cut up, falso manco, cover with the dagger, step through, bringing me into Codalonga Alta. From there, I'm going to reposition across the dagger and then cut up into Guarda de Alicorna. Stab, cover, bring me back to Porta di Ferro. From there, falso manco, cover, step back. I'm in now Codalonga Alta. And then from there, I'm going to thrust the dagger forward so that I can bring the sword underneath as I step back with the stramazzoni, into Porta di Ferro. And then I'm going to do that again as I come into Shingahali Porta di Ferro. Then I'm going to cut falso manco, cover, and back into Codalonga. And then from there, back to guard, sheath my weapons. Bit mixed up in the middle. It's been a while since I've done dagger myself, but hopefully you start to see the key thing is learning to use the two of them as one weapon rather than as two separate weapons, and learning to move them around each other. We're going to go on next week and start looking at how we're actually going to use these guards to actually make our fencing better, but for now I think that's probably enough, and I've gone on long enough. So, she'll catch you next week, and until then, take care.